Ben, let's make some money here, baby. 2 games, of course, championship weekend. We're gonna start with the AFC. The Chiefs with a 7-point number here. 54 is the over/under, but the 7-point favorite. And here come the Fighting Joe Burrows to Kansas City after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last week. So we have a formality; they have to play 2 more games before the season's over. How bad do they beat Cincinnati here? Are you willing to bet on the Bengals, Ben?
I'm not willing to bet on the Bengals because of what I just saw, but I do think you need to keep a few things in the back of your mind before running and putting your entire mortgage on Kansas City to cover in this game. Gabriel Davis on Sunday mollywopped Kansas City's defense, and they didn't have Tyrann Mathieu. We'll see whether or not he's able to play. But when the guy who started the year as your number 4 wide receiver goes for 201 yards and 4 touchdowns, that's a severe issue in your secondary. And then you go back to week 17, where Jamar Chase had the best statistical game of a wide receiver this season for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they never adjusted to him. And so even if Kansas City has Tyrann Mathieu back, which he played in that game, let's say they start double teaming Jamar Chase down the field. Well, now you still have T. Higgins, who at one point went for 196 yards this year. The Bengals have had 3 of the top 5 best receiving days in the NFL this year. Jamar Chase had number 1 and number 3. T. Higgins had number 5. There's some substantial issues that Kansas City secondary is going to need to deal with in this game to try to be able to slow down Cincinnati's pass game. I think eventually they will, but not before it starts being a little bit more back and forth. It's supposed to be great weather in Kansas City. There's no issue about cold weather or winds or anything along those lines. It's supposed to be 43 and sunny. I think this is a pure overplay, and the sharp bettors are all over it. They moved this line from where it opened at 51. It's now at 54 and a half at some books, but WinBet very kind right now to anybody that wants to bet on the over for Kansas City and Bengals fans or anybody else. Give me the over. I think this is going to continue to climb as the week goes on, so jump on it now because both of these offenses are going to score. And that was what happened last time too. It was a 34-31 game. The Chiefs didn't score more than 3 points in the second half, but that's because they took their foot off the gas pedal. That's not going to happen again. Give me the over.
It's a big line for a championship game. Like 7 points is significant. It's not 13 like we saw the Chiefs favored by over Pittsburgh, but it's still a big line against a team that beat the Chiefs earlier this month. The game was in January. Burrow threw for 445 yards. And the Chiefs had their guys. It wasn't like the Chiefs were banged up. They were banged up on the offensive line, but that was it. They weren't banged up defensively. And the Chiefs couldn't do anything. Couldn't get off the field. I think, though, that game is going to really help Kansas City in this game because they know exactly how the Bengals want to attack them now. And I would be very surprised if the Chiefs don't double chase. And you're right, by the way, Ben. T. Higgins is really good. Tyler Boyd is good. C.J. Uzomah is an underrated tight end. But Chase is the world beater. Chase is the guy that if you take him out of the game, which the Chiefs, by the way, did with Stephon Diggs on Sunday night, he had 7 yards. The Chiefs basically were like, he's not beating us. Anything but him. And again, I said this earlier in the pod, Ben, you obviously weren't on yet. I actually thought the Chiefs' defense against Buffalo played great for 58 minutes. I mean, the game got away at the end. But I thought for 58 minutes they played really well. And I think if they play really well for 58 minutes of this game, they're winning this football game. And I don't think it's particularly close. Look, the bottom line is I think Burrow's awesome. I think the Bengals are legit. I really do. They are not going to stop the Chiefs in this game. They're not. That's where I can't get to. I could see Burrow scoring up in the high 20s. I could see all that. I don't think the Bengals can stop Mahomes. You know, they have Hendrickson, who's great, but the rest of that line is really beat up. The corners are not upper echelon. I think this is a game where it's like 37-24, 37-27. I also agree with the over, obviously, by those scores, but I think Kansas City wins by 10, 13 points, something like that.
Yeah, because even if the Bengals can't stop Kansas City and the Chiefs find a way defensively to shut down Burrow and shut down Chase, fresh in their mind, knowing that they only scored 3 points in the second half and let Joe
they're
Burrow
gonna keep
have
rolling.
that type of game. Yeah, they're not going to put their foot off the gas pedal this time.
Just don't put it in range for Evan McPherson, my favorite Bengal. This guy's unbelievable. Guy hits from 58, and it looks like it's good from 70. That 11 kicks from 50 plus, baby. 11. That's big time.
How do you see it, Carm? Which way are you going?
Well,
Carm's fading the public, so he's got to go Bengals and under here, right?
That's correct. Bengals and under, Ben. That's the play. If you're going to contrarian this one up, which I got to stay consistent. Somehow Cincinnati hangs in there, and Burrow has a huge game. The Chiefs win it in a wildly entertaining football game, and it's let's put it's a 24-21er, 27-24, somewhere in there, and the Chiefs move on. 67% of the money right now is on Kansas City. People are pounding them.
Well, listen, by the way, there is one thing in this game that if you're a Chiefs fan, I think you should factor in. I don't think it'll end up being the difference, but that game against the Bills was so emotional, and it was such a wild game.
Great point.
And that stuff sometimes is hard to come out of the following week. I could see the Chiefs getting off to a slow start in this game. Like they poured everything into beating Buffalo. And you think about some of the great games in history, right? That immaculate reception game in 72 with the Steelers, they lost the next week. The sea of hands with the Raiders, they lost the next week. The Chargers beating the Dolphins in the 81 Orange Bowl, they lost the next week. The Minneapolis Miracle, they lost the next week. It's hard. It's hard emotion. Now, granted, those teams a lot of times lost to teams that were better than them. I mean, the Steelers lost to the undefeated Dolphins. The Raiders lost to Steel Curtain. Okay, the Chargers had to go on the road and actually lost to Cincinnati. So there's a lot of there's layers of that. But when you are in a game like Kansas City was just in, it's hard sometimes to refocus and to come back from that. Look, they're better than Cincinnati. They should win this game. But the Bengals are good. And Burrow's been in a lot of big games in his life, and he's won them all. So he's not going to be intimidated by the moment. He's not. I truly do believe that.
Guy's been in the league for 5 seconds. He's been, but he has. He's been.
But even in national title games,
I know.
He's been out of his mind in these spots. So
we were there. I sat next to Jay Cutler. Me and Hunter Armour, we were in New Orleans for it. It was an incredible performance, and you couldn't have had more pressure on it. It's as big of you. It counts. You're right. He's also been sacked 47 times, second most in the NFL.
That's the biggest reason I think the Chiefs won the game.
Yeah, and
they're just going to relentlessly go after him, and I don't think they have to blitz to do it. That was the mistake they made the first game. They kept blitzing. And if you go back and look at the game, they didn't have to. Every time they had a four-man rush, they got pressure. They didn't have to blitz. And Spagnuolo just kept blitzing and I do not think you're going to see that this game. They are going to play a cover 2 shell. They're going to try to take away everything deep. And they're basically going to say, look, you're going to beat us. It's going to be on a 15-play drive. And with that offensive line, that is an awfully big task to go 15 plays over and over and over and over. It's going to be a very, very hard thing for Cincinnati to have to do should the Chiefs play them that way.
In my mind, 2 things have to happen for Cincinnati to have a chance in this game. Number one, they cannot drop the football, which they did a lot last week. T. Higgins, catch the ball. You can't, literally, they're going to have to play a perfect game. The coaching aspect of it, too, get the plays into them. Burrow's coming up to the line, play clock's running down. They got to snap it. Pressure's on. Tennessee's coming because they don't even have to think. There's 1 second. They got to snap it, and then he's getting cracked. So put him in a better position to succeed. But all right, let's flip over to the NFC. Of course, the Niners and the Rams, and we've touched on the fact this is going to be a home game for San Francisco. But by the way, Carm, advice to LA: you're trying to see who gets tickets here and put it, only this county. Just move the game to St. Louis. You let your fans actually be there for you, because it ain't gonna happen out there. Just literally do it. 24 hours. Hey, we're going back to St. Louis for this one. But okay, for real, 3.5 points here, Ben. and the number's 46.5. Which way you going?
By the way, if they did go back to St. Louis, it would be an even worse home field advantage than it would be currently in LA. St. Louis fans are pissed. They're still pissed. They have moved on. They have found 31 other teams to root for ahead of the Rams the moment that team left town, just from the St. Louis folks that I have spoken to. As far as this game goes, there's a lot of trends that are not in the favor of the Los Angeles Rams. One in particular is Kyle Shanahan has owned the soul of Sean McVay going back the last 2.5, 3 seasons. He's 6-0 against McVay in their last 6 games. They beat him both times this year, did it handily in San Francisco, and then came back from 17 points down in a game that was fairly important for both teams. Obviously, the 49ers needed it a tad bit more to make the postseason, but the Rams could have had the number 2 seed, or either number 2 or number 3 seed.
Number 2.
And then by moving it down, by not winning that game, by letting it get away, they ended up falling to the 4th seed. Now, it obviously ended up working out for them as they're now in this opportunity to be able to host the NFC Championship game. But that was still a substantial game that they let get away. I keep coming back to the number, which is for Matthew Stafford, who is the best in the NFL this year against the blitz. That's going to be a major issue for the 49ers, especially because of the type of pressure that they like to generate. And also, I came across a number this week about Matthew Stafford as a comeback player. Nobody has more comebacks and winning comebacks in the NFL than Stafford since he came into the league 12 years ago. And I think we're at the point where we need to kind of take what he's accomplished a little bit more seriously. That throw to Cooper Kupp, yes, it was a terrible defensive call by Todd Bowles to be able to send that type of pressure in that situation, but he delivered an absolute dime. And they are extremely confident on the offensive side of the ball. Granted, Cam Akers fumbled twice, but they're giving him the ball consistently, so he's clearly healthy. I thought they were going to be able to run a little bit better against Tampa Bay, considering that they've been allowing more than 5 yards per carry over the last 3 weeks, and they were committed to it. And their commitment to the run to keep play action going for Stafford has been immensely helpful. They're still undefeated this year when he doesn't have an interception. So I think this is the opportunity for the Rams, especially with Odell Beckham Jr. playing well, with the mix that they have on offense and defense, with the fresh set of perspective of knowing what can happen when you do not protect a lead in multiple games. The game against San Francisco aside, you just almost became a Falcons meme last week. The Rams minus 3.5 feels like the right play, and you're going to get a Chiefs and Rams Super Bowl, and the Chiefs for... I still think this is so funny that after no team in NFL history ever got a chance to play a Super Bowl in their home city, it's going to happen back-to-back years against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're going to be the road team in a Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Although I don't want to hear that, Chiefs fans, because last year you had a pandemic where there was basically no fans there. And, Ben, it's funny. I think you'll agree with me on this. If it is the Chiefs in the end, I'm sorry for the pinging noise. It's an important text thread from my wife right now. So if that game happens, if it's the Rams and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, the game's at SoFi, I would be willing to bet that place sounds like Arrowhead. Like they will pack that place with Chiefs fans. I don't know. The Rams, it never feels like a home game, ever. I mean, it feels like Candlestick on Sunday. And I know the Rams have gone through all kinds of an effort not to let people buy outside. People are going to buy those tickets. That is, like, if you want to get tickets bad, if you're going to get them. And I remember week 18 watching that game. I couldn't believe how loud it was for the Niners. It really felt like a home game. It was incredible. And I guarantee you, if the Chiefs play in the Super Bowl, it's going to feel like a home game for the Chiefs.
And Stafford even talked about it in the post-game press conference about how it was hard to hear in their home building.
It's brutal.
It's still, by the way, and Carm, you'll appreciate this, being a Chicago Cub fan like myself. But all those times the Milwaukee Brewers would try to take away any Chicago fan's ability to buy tickets to go see a game at Miller Park. Like this just feels so amateur hour for the Rams to come out and try to, we're going to keep the tickets in this part of California. Just have some faith in your fans. And even if the 49ers fans end up buying tickets, then go out and do better and make more fans in the process by beating them.
And also understand how the world works. People are buying tickets. You overprice your tickets. People buy them on the secondary market. That's
well,
go ahead.
The Rams did this to themselves because much like in MetLife, they made everybody spend a gazillion dollars on these private seating licenses, which people are like, F you, man, I'm not paying. And Los Angeles is already a terrible sports city when it comes to supporting teams. I mean, let's be honest, if you're not the Lakers, nobody gives a shit. I mean, the Dodgers are spending $800 million a year, and you turn on a playoff game, and like half of the upper deck's empty. I mean, they just don't care. It's a city of transplants in a lot of cases, and a lot of people just don't really care all that much. Look, let's get to the game here. Obviously, Ben, you already gave your 2 cents. I'll give mine. Here's something interesting with the 49ers, though. You mentioned how he's the best against the blitz in Stafford. The Niners rank 29th in blitz percentage. They do not blitz a lot. And yet, despite that, they are 6th in the league, tied 5th actually, 48 sacks. They get pressure. They get home. And if you look at some of the other metrics like pressure rate itself, they're middle of the pack. Quarterback knockdown rate, they are 11th. Hurry rate, they're actually hurry rate, they're toward the bottom. But they don't blitz a lot. What's going to be interesting in this game is, to me, the Rams give up the 4th most yards after the catch. Like, the Niners are not going to throw the ball deep over the top. It's going to be stuff underneath. They're going to try to get the run. Well, against the Rams, they're going to be able to do that. The Rams have given up a lot of passing yards this season. Okay, they are one of the top 10 in not a good way. They're 10th, I believe it is, in the most passing yards allowed. Now, can the Niners take advantage of that with Garoppolo? I don't know. Both of these teams are very good against the run. They each average giving up 4 yards an attempt, which is tied for the 5th best in the league. Okay, so you have a defense on both sides that can take away the run. The Niners against the pass this year have been okay. They do give up a very high completion rate, 3rd worst in the league. That's going to be an issue for them. But on the flip side of that, they don't give up a lot of shot plays over their heads, and yards per attempt against are about even with the Rams, 7.1, 7.2. That's a long way for me to say I think it's a close game. And so I will take the Niners to cover. I will take the Rams to win only because I think they're much healthier. But if Trent Williams plays and he's healthy, the Rams cannot beat them. I mean, the Niners just kick their teeth in every time they play them. They're much more physical. Shanahan has McVay's number. Of course, they know each other so well from their days in Washington together. There have been 22 instances in the playoffs history where a team is trying to go 3-0 against the other team for the season. That team is 14-8 all time. So history backs the Niners. I will take the cover. And I think it's a game the Rams win, but I do not think it's a foregone conclusion.
By the way, my secondary market quick research shows that I am wrong about the prices for these tickets because people want to go to this football game. Cheapest seat to get in for Rams Niners is $520. So that thing is going to be loaded with 49er fans because I assume that if the market's that high, they're coming down for a nice weekend in LA to see their Niners go to the Super Bowl. Ben, which by the way, 57% of the money's on the Rams, so I guess I'm taking the Niners. Let's go for the Stafford meltdown. Let's go San Francisco. Hey Ben, great stuff, brother. We're Super Bowl week. Let's make some big money.
Let's do it, guys. Good to see you.
All right. Ben Heisler, managing editor, BetSided.